Good evening and welcome to the 707 show. I'm Moira Bush.
I'm Regina Neal.
So Regina and I are here tonight to talk a little bit about...
The devil made me do it. How many times have somebody said that?
I know. So tonight's episode we want to dedicate to a little bit of shadow talk, and we wanted to just engage. Well, you suggested the shadow subject when you said, what shall we talk on the show? So
yes, because I've had experiences with shadows recently, so I thought it would be a very good topic.
Yeah, and I think, and just so you know, we put a poll out on the 707 show Facebook group, because this is where we broadcast from, and we asked everybody what do they know about their devils, right? And top one was
aware of the devil games, but sometimes takes me a while to figure out the why and how to stop them.
That was the top pick in the poll. Yeah, aware of your devil's games, but not always sure the why or how to stop them. So I think tonight we need to make sure that we share a couple of tips. Why do you get stuck in those patterns, and give them some advice as to how to get out of them, how to get out of shadow patterns. I think that's something we must do on the show.
That sounds like a good plan.
Yeah, and then the next topic was aware of your devil's games and use your power to stop them whenever possible. Yeah, it's awareness, isn't it? Yeah.
Be aware of what's going on there.
We had very slim pickings for the next one.
Yes, unaware of your devil's games and get regular checkup calls to alert you to change.
Oh dear, for those of you who picked that one, I'm sorry. It means you need a lot of hits on the heads to kind of get it, right?
Yes.
And the next one was kind of tied with that one. Unaware of your devil's games and blissfully possessed and stuck in repeating patterns too difficult to shift out of. Oh God, we were all there once.
For sure.
And the one that didn't get any pickings was aware of your devil's games and let them play out anyway. That's good to know. Nobody picked that because that's quite malicious if you let that happen.
And nobody picked, I did not know I had devil patterns. So at least everyone's aware that took the poll.
So excellent. So you've tuned into the right show and it's the right topic. So we're having a bit of a giggle since Regina and I have been talking tonight. We had this giggle because it sometimes shadow talk can be so intensely difficult, and it's sometimes not a nice subject to talk about, but we've been giggling about the subject the whole night because we know and we've learned that you got to have a sense of humor. Otherwise you get, if you really get stuck in that mire of the devil made me do it stuff, it's not a good place.
Exactly. It can be very serious because you get overwhelmed when you're thinking about, what can I do? Like what's going on? Yeah. But being aware, it's like you kind of giggle at your shadows because it's like, I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
So it's like stop it or change.
So the 707 show was created to have a candid, out of the closet spiritual chat without fear of that we're going to say the wrong thing or be sued by somebody. And honestly, I think there's a lot of reasons why people don't speak about spiritualities. They're always so afraid of what their family is going to say if they start having these kind of conversations. What's society going to say? What are the systems and the authorities out there going to say? So we're very fortunate. We're doing this in a group and we feel very comfortable talking to you about our own experiences. And we do it because we can, because we know how tough it is to expand your consciousness and to grow spiritually.
Exactly. And it's fun. If you put fun to it, then it's not so overwhelming. So it's like, let's have some fun.
I did promise you one of the shows. I promise you I'm going to put champagne into my 707 mug. I've got apple juice tonight. What have you got?
Just water.
Water. Oh, that's boring.
It's clear.
It's clear.
That's my story and I'm sticking to it.
Let's see who's tuned in tonight. Alka Durham. My goodness, Alka, all the way from the UK. Alka actually has family here in Canada and she actually came to study with me. And she's out in the UK, so it's midnight there about. And then we've got Sarah. Hello, ladies. We'll have to catch a replay. Great. Catch you later, Sarah. And Catherine Jujak, I love the shadows that come up at times. It just shows me where I need to go and where I need to be. That's a very healthy viewpoint on shadows, is to use them as a pinpoint. Who else is there? Shannon. Hi, Shannon. So our other producer. And Alka's having a good Alka, we love you, darling. So welcome if you joined the show. If you're watching the replay, we ask you, please be generous. This is a show we genuinely want to talk about spirituality and subjects that might be taboo in certain communities still. Share.
Yes, let everybody know what we're up to.
Yeah, share it. And because we're not selling anything, this is just a talk show. It's a chat show. Groups are very tolerant and happy to have us feature. So if you are parts of groups, please share it in groups and get the message out there that the 707 show exists, and invite your friends to be a member in the group. And remember, you can only participate in the comments. You can watch the show, but you can only feature on the comments and and have us respond to you live if you're a member in the group. You must become a member of the 707 show. It's a public group on Facebook. Yeah. So we did a bit of research, huh?
Yes, we did.
We decided, what do we talk about the devil when we come on here? So we thought we'd do some research and see what everybody else thinks about it.
All right. Well, the devil as architects in religion.
Archetypes.
Architects.
But isn't he an
architect?
Communication. Okay. This has been happening all night. Okay, go.
Okay, we're a little giddy. In Christianity, Satan, the fallen angel. Satan is also seen as God's opponent. Mm-hmm. The evil snake who attempts you to eat the forbidden fruit.
Oh, the Adam and Eve story.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And in Hinduism, evil is described in early texts as natural. All spirits are aspects of one supreme God.
I like that bit.
Yeah.
I like that in Hinduism they didn't do the separation that God had this opposing force. It is a little bit like in Chinese Taoism, the yin and yang. There's equal balance. I like the Hinduism's version of the devil.
Definitely, it would take a lot of pressure off Christianity
if they had the same belief. Yeah.
Okay, and in Buddhism, Mara is a devil-like creature associated with death, rebirth, and desire. Tempts you to stray from spiritual practice.
Yeah. So they see the devil as a little bit of a temptress. Yeah, quite like that. Okay. I read a book recently, and I know you did too. The one that was written by Napoleon Hill, Outwitting the Devil.
Yes, I did read that. Well, I'm in the process of reading it, but it was
heavy going, eh?
Oh yes, and very eye-opening. It's like, ooh, what if this is how it is? I was like, wow.
Well, Napoleon Hill wrote Think and Grow Rich, and it's one of the best-selling books of all times, and it's a very famous book in the personal development world. And Outwitting the Devil it was written in 2011, or published in 2011. It was actually written by Napoleon Hill in 1938, but at the time the systems that were in place were still had a lot of power. The churches, education systems, the politicians, they had a lot of power. So they didn't feel that it was safe. It was too controversial for him to publish. And so now the book is out there. And what's so interesting is Sharon Lechter actually wrote a few comments in between, just to give it a modern spin as to what was actually, and really it's still all very relevant to today's society. So I would recommend reading Outwitting the Devil. I think it's a very, very good book. And then the devil as an archetype in New Age spirituality.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Carolyn Miss in Sacred Contracts. There are hundreds of archetypes, and all have been shadow and light, from shadow and light attitudes.
Yeah, she says we each have that, the saboteur. We all have a saboteur devil in us, right? I mean, admit it. We put our keys down, we forget where they are. We plan to go to the event, and then we get sick to make sure we trip up and don't make it there. So that's saboteur, but it has a light and a dark aspect. And in the light aspect, the saboteur is there to warn you to not sign contracts that aren't actually good for you, to warn you about possibilities where somebody will be betraying you. In the dark side, the saboteur doesn't want you to claim your power. So that's what she means by that shadow knight. That's what I came to understand by studying her work.
Yeah.
Do you have a saboteur?
Oh, yeah.
Do you have
That's
an
an understatement.
That's a big devil in all of us, that archetype devil, saboteur.
Oh, yes.
And then Debbie Ford, she was another one who wrote about the shadow, and in her work, in her book, The Shadow Effect, Illuminating the Hidden Power of Your True Self. And this is a great title, because when you go into your shadow self, you illuminate your true self. I only found my power when I faced my own devils, when I faced my
Me
dark
too.
side. That's when I really realized how powerful I am, and began to sit in front of a camera like this.
And I feel like I'm just beginning to experience my full power after facing my devils just not so long ago, that I took a workshop, and it was like, oh my. I have so much work to do.
It wasn't just the saboteur.
There was a few more devils there.
I like what she says here. We can't fight darkness with darkness. We have to find compassion and embrace the darkness inside of us in order to understand it and ultimately to transcend it. Yeah. This is something I think, this is the misconception I think people have about shadow work, is they feel that they have to almost adorn some kind of armor and become a warrior and go out there and fight their demons and almost have this war with themselves. And it's not that. It's completely the opposite. It's about compassion and understanding, acceptance and surrender. Those are the keys: compassion, understanding, acceptance and surrender. If you apply that to the parts of you that lead you astray, if you had to look at your saboteur, you've just missed a big opportunity, because you allowed your saboteur devil to divert you. And instead of getting angry with yourself, you go and talk to that inner part of you, that inner saboteur, and say, hey, you know what? I don't like what you did, but you know what? It's okay. I understand why you did it, but you know, this opportunity is going to come around again, and I'm going to have the power this time, not you, okay? And you have that compassion and dialogue. It almost makes us sound like we're schizophrenic in our head, to having this talk to this thing in our head, but that is really how it works.
It's all part of us, right? The dark and the light is all part of us, and sometimes we're afraid of the dark, but it's when you accept that it's a part of me.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, if it's a part of me, why am I afraid of it? It's like, you know what? Hey, let's have a conversation with the shadows and say, all right, I understand you're trying to help me, but like, I want to do this, and I'm going to do it.
Take your
Take
power
the power
back.
Take
Yeah.
the power.
So let's have a look here. Deanne Martin, hello. Thanks for tuning in. And
It's my friend from Newfoundland.
oh, is it? Newfoundland's tuning in. Oh, excellent. My brother-in-law's from Newfoundland, and he's just the nicest Newfie I know.
Next to me.
Yeah. Oh, Renee's joined in. Renee, hi Moira, hoping you're making a great day listening in. Blessings. Hi Renee, and thank you again for tuning in to last week's 707 episode and sharing your story with us. We really appreciate it. We spoke with Zara, was our co-host.
Yeah,
And
it was very good.
The mental health thing was really good. Yeah. We've had some lovely feedbacks from that episode.
Some shocking details too.
Yeah.
And,
God,
when
those
you did the
statistics.
survey. Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
One in 5 Canadians suffer from mental health issues.
And 3 of them in Ontario?
Yeah, 3. Yeah, and 10 people commit
Oh, that was
suicide.
Yes, the suicide.
I mean, that a day. I mean, that's sad.
I know it is.
Marsha says hello, Moira. Hello,
Hi,
darling. Marsha is our co-host next week. She's coming in.
Right.
Right, Shannon. Love is the answer. Oh, excellent. Oh, that's lovely, guys. Thank you for tuning in. So we really want to hear from you, what your opinion of the whole shadow work is, and what do you do to overcome your shadows. We're going to share some tips, and we've on what keeps you locked in shadow patterns, and how you can get out of it. But if you have some advice for our viewers, or you want to share what's worked for you, we'd really appreciate you adding to this feed. And if you're watching the replay, add it to the feed, because we do go back after the show, and for the week following it, we do go back and check if anybody's added new comments or questions. Yeah, excellent.
Yes, many times I have to do the replay, and I'm really grateful that you record it and we can watch the replay and not miss out on it.
Yeah, well, that's
special.
Facebook technology. It's just amazing, isn't it? Yeah. I love Shannon going, love is always the answer. Yeah, I go, love is the answer for everything, but us thick humans, we don't always get it right.
Right.
Yeah. So let's have a look. We want to have a look at what are the most common reasons that we get stuck in devil, shadow games or patterns. So when we talk about shadow games and patterns, we're talking about the negativity. We're talking about what we indulge in that is based on fear, what we indulge in thought patterns, behavior, addictions, anything based on fear that keeps us trapped, that keeps us contracted. And why do we choose? Because it's a choice. It's a choice to allow ourselves to have the shadow sides keep us stuck there. So we had a look at what are the most common reasons we get stuck.
So first one, we cannot let go of the past. Now, isn't that the truth? How many times do we relive our past, tell our stories, and just keep going on?
And blame our parents. You know, one of the past stories is my parents hated me, or my father abandoned me, or, you know, my mother wasn't available to me, and we blame our past, and that keeps us stuck.
Exactly. But once we accept the fact that our parents did the best they could under the circumstances that they lived with the knowledge that they knew. So once we look at it that way and accept it, then we can let it go and stop telling the stories again.
If any of you are still blaming your parents, honestly, it's time to get over it. Really, because it's going to keep you stuck repeating the same cycles again and again and again. And take it from me, my mom passed away, and that feeling of having unfinished business, that feeling of not having quite forgiven or moved on and still blaming, you know, it's such waste of time and energy. Don't do it. Save yourselves the trouble. Your shadow wants you to feel guilty by not forgiving your mother and your father and blaming your past. Yeah.
We are addicted to our stories, just as I was saying, our stories, because we like to tell them again and again and again. But as long as you tell the stories where you're feeling like a victim, you're going to stay there.
Yeah. Right? And when you write books, we're encouraged by the people that teach us how to write books, or if you do public speaking, that we must talk about our story, because our story has value. Yeah. But if you keep repeating it over and over and over, you get stuck in that loop.
Yes, you want to be able to just tell what you need to tell for credibility, and then just say, but it transformed me, right? It stepped me up to a greater power.
Small part of the story. Yeah, I had a challenge when I wrote my last book. I had that challenge. I didn't want to talk about Moira the victim, Moira the wounded child, Moira the one who was the saboteur to control her life, and I wanted to, and it was challenging because I wanted to write a book that was just, here's an inspirational way to work through your stuff, and you know, and I'd use case studies of people's stories, but it was very limited. That balance, it's a balance you have to find when you're an author or a public speaker or you're a trainer and you want to use your stories. It's got a little bit of, you know, it's like if you put salt and pepper on your food, you know, you only a little bit of pepper or a little bit of salt, right?
Gotta have a balance, but not
to flavor it, but not make it the reason.
Right.
Yeah.
And as soon as we let go of our stories, we can move on and enjoy today and our present time. Okay, our stories define us.
Oh, that's the victim, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's like, but, you know, when I'm helping people and talking to people, and they'll say, yeah, but you don't understand. So they want to keep telling their stories over and over again. It's like, you know, so I don't understand. They don't understand that once they get past, forgive and get past this story, then they can be so free. Like in my own experience, like I felt like a victim for so long, and then of course, once I learned that I can speak my truth and not be worried about what somebody else is saying, then I'm free.
Yeah, I'm no longer a victim. I am. Who am I if I'm not a victim? And that's key in stepping out of a shadow pattern. Mm-hmm. If you're not a victim, who are you? If you're not that story that you've come to define as your title, who are you? Because of course, you know, one of the archetypes is that victim, and it's a very powerful one.
Yes, it was in my reading a year ago, I think it was.
Oh, sorry.
But it's past. past. I've learned the power. Just we fear feeling our emotions. Right? You're feeling afraid of being angry and stepping out and saying what you really feel, or letting people know, you hurt me, you hurt my feelings. Well,
Yeah.
you need to be able to speak.
And it's not just feeling angry. It's we also have a fear of actually loving, because we feel that makes us vulnerable. And so not feeling emotions also keeps you stuck in devil patterns.
Yes.
That's I think for any kind of spiritual alternative therapist, healer out there, this is our main block that we deal with, is to unlock the emotions, because we so often get, if I can think of a different thought or a different way, or I can think my way out of a situation, and the doors of opportunity are going to open up to me, and I'm like, the doors of opportunity is your heart chakra. You've got to feel the emotions, and you've got to deal with them. Then when this opens up, that's when true opportunity comes in. So
almost like magic.
Yeah, I know, that's what you keep saying about what's happening to you recently, because you did this work. I know you did. It's why we were laughing earlier.
Feel the magic.
Feel the magic.
Love is a magic, because when you love somebody, and I remember when I had my first child, and I just loved her so much, and I can't imagine loving another child. And then when the second one came, it was like, I love that one just as much too. So it's like, love is magical. The more you give, the more there is.
Yeah.
So love is the true magic.
Yeah.
True magic.
Okay.
Next one, we have judgments on right and wrong.
Okay, so there's actually, Anne says, one of my friends did the same story every day, got bottle 22, but now won't talk to me. Well, this is a good point for you. We have no judgments on right or wrong. And as a healer, and sometimes when we give advice to somebody, or they ask us for advice, and they can't face letting their story go, or their identity go, or they still need in judgment, we have to be careful to not be in judgment of them. We just got to love them and let them go, and just say, well, we gave you an opportunity to open the door, and let it go. And I hope that's useful, because I know it's sad, and she's got a sad emoji there. That sad a friend won't talk to her, but it's not important. What's important is that you loved her enough to say, hey, here's a way for you to let go of your story, to get out of guilt, to forgive yourself, to move on. And if they don't accept it, you can't make them do it. Okay? And just in case you can hear that, guys, God's obviously phoning us.
All right, let's say hello. Hello, God.
Okay, so how to get unstuck from your shadow patterns. Okay, has anybody given us any tips on how to get unstuck? Who determines what is right and what is wrong? Only you do, Catherine. And it's based on a belief, on what you've taught, or what you've learned from society, or your culture, or your parents.
Yes.
You decide what's right or wrong. And the idea is to move beyond that, and to not go into judgment. Yeah. Anne says, yes, thank you, it helped. Okay, darling, Anne, we've helped you. That's brilliant. Okay, so how to get unstuck from shadow patterns.
Get help. Join a group. Do a course.
Oh, yes.
Join the 707 show.
Join the 707 show. Yes. And join the group and have a conversation. Get some support. Read books. Outwitting the Devil it's a difficult go, but it's there. And I think I like the idea of a course as well, because it just, you have this opportunity to see yourself by being mirrored back by your students, by your peers, and that you can accelerate your healing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I started reading in 1978, Zig Ziglar, See You at the Top. That was the beginning of my personal development, a long time ago. But, now I feel my training is being accelerated.
Yeah.
By taking the course, the boot camp that I mentioned earlier, my eyes have been open. It's like I thought I could see before, but I was like looking through shears, the little outside through shears. Now the shears have been open, and I can see so much more. It's like it's freedom. You want freedom, like learn.
and be prepared to face them. Hear yourself speak. Oi. Shame we were talking about our Prime Minister, Mr. Trudeau. I think sometimes these politicians, even newsreaders, professional speakers, if they'd only listen to how they speak, it'd be quite shocking, I think. Yeah.
So it's okay for us to speak publicly, right? Because we are not trained on the level that they are. So don't be afraid to speak up. Don't be afraid to be on camera. This is my first really live.
I don't think you've said one or like or stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
No, she goes quiet.
That's good.
we caught the Prime Minister, Mr. Justin Trudeau, saying and stuff like that. It's dead language. It doesn't mean anything. Yeah, but it's not just about the using dead language or words that don't have any meaning behind them. It's just really hear what you say, because if you're manifesting anything in your life, you're speaking it into being.
Oh, yes.
And how many people use that phrase, I can't afford it. That's not you speaking, that's your devil speaking. That's a shadow pattern.
Yeah.
And if you hear yourself say it, you can nip it in the bud and cancel it and say, how can I say this differently? What can I do to make it happen, for example, instead of I can't afford it.
Yeah, it's not in my budget right now. So that sounds positive, and it means that it will be in your budget sometime.
Yeah, that you'll plan for it, you'll make it happen. Yeah, very good.
Just rephrase some of the things you say.
And my favorite.
Read everything 3 times.
Oi. It's if you want to know if you're communicating through writing, your posts on Facebook, your emails, the communication you do with people, and before you hit post or send and you read it 3 times and the third one out loud, you can very quickly spot, did your angel write it or did your devil self write it? And it's easy. The devil will write something that wants to hurt somebody. The devil in you wants to write something that's derogatory, that's unkind, that's blaming, that is saying you're no good, who are you, and you let me down, and it kind of, that's the language. And your higher self, your angelic side, is going to write complimentary things and say, I appreciate you, and it will be completely done in a way of gratitude and appreciation, and
definitely.
Read everything 3 times. Very, very important. Okay.
Yes, it would be terrible to send off an email to the wrong person without reading it.
Yeah. I can always tell when somebody's shadow's written to me, because their spelling's bad, their punctuation's bad, there's so many signs that is a dead giveaway that it's not their higher consciousness or their higher intention that wrote it. It's the shadow side looking to play games. And very often I don't reply to those emails or those posts. I just ignore them, because I'm not prepared to waste my time and energy talking to their devils. If they've got to become aware that it's their devils that have written and communicated, and I've just let it go. Yeah.
So you don't be hung up on the person for saying it. It's, you know where it's coming from, because you're aware, and
because if you respond to it, you start the game.
Yeah.
Because then you're going to deny or deflect or defend or justify, or you start playing those games, and the devil's games, as I call them. Don't go there. Just bin it.
It reminds me of a phrase I heard a long time ago, that it's the second statement that creates an argument or a fight.
Yes.
It's not the first one.
No,
it's the reactionary one.
Can you imagine in relationships what that's like, eh?
Yes, somebody says something, and when the reaction, then the fight starts.
Then the energy is hooked in, yeah. Because once, if it's like playing tennis. If you've got that machine that spouts the ball out and you hit it, nobody's there to hit it back. But the minute you've got a partner, you have an opponent opposite you, and you start hitting the ball backwards and forwards, you've got a game on. It's the same thing with shadows. It's like, don't hit the ball back.
Yep.
Let it go.
Save a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. Stop reacting on autopilot.
Ooh.
Anybody guilty of that?
Yay! We all do that.
Yes.
Yeah. Think about when we sit with our hubbies, and and you've been in a relationship a long time, and you kind of know what they're going to say because it's like habit already, you know, and like you interrupt them or you have this auto response, and you know it just opens that ping pong or that table tennis or the tennis ball game, you know. It's like, just be conscious and don't go autopilot. Really think about what you're saying and what you're responding. Don't do autopilot. Yeah,
even if it's the 10th time you heard it.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Listen, because you want them to listen to you, right? So, you know, don't automatically shut them out. Say, oh, I've heard that before. No. Just...
And also, it's not just reacting verbally, you know, it's your body language, and it's you know, do you slam the doors, and you know, what do you do that's autopilot, that your devil responds? It's picking up the racket and hitting it. So become conscious of your reactions.
Exactly. Next one. Ask, why am I attracting this?
Why, the intelligent question. Why are you attracting this? Yeah. Because it takes you out of that devil victim archetype where you go, well, you know, shit happens to me. It always happens to me. You know, if you just go, well, why is this happening to me? And is there a reason behind it? Is there a bigger picture I'm not seeing? It starts taking you out of that story and drama that has you locked into the devil's patterns. And then you start seeing things from a more self-awareness or a higher consciousness perspective.
And you'll start getting answers too, especially if you say it out loud, right? Why is this happening?
Yes.
Or why am I attracting this? Yeah, you'll get answers. So
You do.
if you want to know the answer, ask why.
Yeah. So here's another intelligent thing to do, is talk to God. You know, your higher consciousness, I don't care what you call it, but actually just talk to somebody, because the answer will come. It really will come. I mean, we had Renee that's watching the show. She was telling us on last week's episode that when all the medical doctors failed her and she decided she's going to figure out, you know, how to get herself going, she just started having conversation with God. And she kept getting these images of tapping her face, and her son told her to Google it, and wham bang, there she was. She found EFT and she's better. And, you know, everything has changed for her because she just decided to speak to a higher consciousness, to a being. I don't care if you think God is a white bearded man on a throne. I don't care how you visualize it. I don't care if you see it as an angel. Just talk to a consciousness, an intelligence that's higher than you, a soul intelligence.
Yeah.
That's
and
about
yourself. I mean, you know, a lot of your answers are within yourself, and you just need to ask the right questions.
Everything is inside of you.
Isn't that exciting to know that the answers are not very far away? They're really close.
Oh,
Good.
and
Next
that,
one.
yeah.
Forgive radically. Forgiveness.
Did you do that one?
Oh gosh, yes. After the workshop, I did. I had a bath and did some meditation in the bath, and 40 minutes later I got out. But I went through my timeline and looked at areas that needed forgiveness.
Yeah.
And I'd forgotten that I got to go back and forgive me, because that's the hardest person to forgive, is yourself. Right? So I have to go back through my timeline again and say, okay, where do I think I messed up? Said the wrong thing, did the wrong thing, or didn't do something. I went back and had to forgive myself. Give myself a hug and say I love you and forgive me.
Yes.
It was cool. It was powerful.
Have you guys had to forgive yourself? Have you remembered a part of the forgiveness process, viewers? It's you need to not just forgive mom and dad. You need to forgive yourself. And because it keeps you in the past, it takes you right back to that game we have where Shadow says, let's keep you in the past so you can't move forward. Yeah. Jan says, I love talking to God, my homeboy. So I'm good, Joanne. Excellent. Yes, no, forgiveness. Forgiveness was key in healing relationships for me in my family. And it was one of the very first spiritual practices or principles that I embraced, was forgiveness. And it helped me it released me.
Yeah.
You have this sense of freedom if you're no longer angry at yourself or feel guilty with yourself. And then the other thing that happened was I realized I became more aware. So if I felt I was transgressing in some way, I would say to myself, I can forgive myself because the next minute or moment that presents itself is a brand new opportunity to not do it. So actually, this is pretty cool to even forgive on a moment by moment or transgression. It really sets you free.
Instead of carrying that baggage along with you.
Yeah.
Like if we could see all the things that's behind us that we're dragging along as an unforgiveness, it would be like miles and miles of garbage bags behind us.
And that's what the shadow patterns are based on, because that's the source of food to keep acting out. The saboteur, when the saboteur is looking for energy to lose our keys, to make us late, guess where its food source and energy source comes from? It's that baggage we're dragging behind it. It taps into that energy to be able to possess our bodies and make us put keys down that we don't remember where we put them. We have no memory of where we put our keys. We're completely overshadowed in that moment.
Yep.
And it's because it dips into that baggage. So very, very important to let the baggage go.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Then you can move on. It's like, who wants all
That's
this?
why I think it's called enlightenment, because you become lighter. You're not dragging all that baggage behind you. Yeah.
That's a good
That's
thought.
a good thought. That's a good thought. Hashtag moment, enlightenment. Lighten yourself,
Lighten
literally
your
cut
load,
off the back.
so-
Yeah, yeah.
Because past is gone. There's nothing you can do to change it. So why spend all your time there unless you're reliving good memories or learning from bad memories? Learn from it, take
And move
what
on.
you've learned into your present and enjoy every moment, because this is the only time we have is now, today. Right? So we have to really enjoy it to the fullest.
Are you enjoying this moment?
Oh, I am. I'm having so much fun. Thank you. When do I get to come back again?
Book with Shannon. She does our bookings. Excellent. Catherine says, yep, talk to the big dude. Oh, she calls it the big dude, okay? All the time. And, oh, yes, forgive. Oh, yeah.
Joanne's laughing with us.
Yeah, big dude. The boy upstairs and the homie.
Right? I know it's like you can talk whatever to God about anything. I mean, He knows all, so it's kind of like you're not surprising Him with anything. And I learned that, I think, about maybe 15 years ago, because, I've heard somebody was speaking and they said they're having this argument with God, and it's like, arguing with God, it's like, angry with God, yelling at God. Why? It's like, you can't do that. No, why? And it's, well, why not? God knows everything anyway. You're not keeping anything from Him, so you may as well spill your guts out and let Him hear everything you're saying.
Yeah.
Because if you hold it inside, He knows it all. So,
Anyway.
yeah, so you may as well let your ears hear it too. And it's like, oh, what was I so upset about?
Yeah.
Sorry, Newfoundland's kicking in there.
The devil's kicking in, girl.
Didn't want me to say that.
We have a last one, and it's one that's a biggie, and one that certainly my spiritual teachers taught me, and that's judgments. Yeah.
Yes, and accepting the perfection of both light and dark.
Yeah, this is the big one that keeps you in your shadow games, is when you still judge something as good or bad, when you still play that separation game of this is right, this is wrong. And when you do that, guys, your shadows are those patterns have got a lot of food. They can really play out. They've got a lot of energy to feed them to play out. So you've got to get to that stage where when you see something bad happen, yes, have compassion. Your first reaction is always compassion. But also go, you know what, there's a reason this is happening, and it's perfect for whoever it's playing out to, whoever's, that this bad thing is happening to, because there's a reason that this is teaching them. There's a teacher energy. That's one of the things I learned about shadow work, is my shadow is my teacher.
Yes.
My light side makes me feel good, but doesn't teach me anything. It just says, hey, life is great, right? My shadow is the one that comes in and says, this is what you need to learn, this is what you need to master, this is what you need to forgive. And so the minute I acknowledge that my shadow isn't something to fear, it is something to teach me, it's helped me that when things go bad, I don't have that reaction of, oh God, here we go again. I have this reaction that says, what am I learning here? What must I be picking up? Because it's when shadow knocks on your door, it's a great moment, because it says you're ready for another level of awareness.
Yeah.
You're ready to be bigger. You're ready to expand. You're ready to do more, be more.
Yep.
Your light side doesn't do that. Light side doesn't knock on the door and say, "Hello, darling. This is the angel of light calling. It's time for you to become a public speaker, write a book and become famous." Because you'll go, really?
Doesn't sound exciting, does it? It's our troubled times, our difficult times that make us grow.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the trouble is there to get us off our butt and move on and do something different to expand into your light, right? Because if it didn't happen, you would stay right there, just sitting, not doing anything, just moving on. And then when something terrible happens, like, all the changes I've made in my life happen because something happened that broke my heart, that was hard for me to deal with or whatever. Then I made changes. And even though the time was difficult, when I went back and looked at my past, it's like, it's a good thing that happened because now I'm here.
It's always that retrospect, looking back. If you look back down your timeline and you look at things that have happened to you, it makes sense, doesn't it? And they were they were the teachers. They were the moments the doors were open for you. Yeah. Joanne says, "Judgments, I'm here to master them." Why? Can't you just be who you are, full of judgments anyway? So that's a good one, isn't it? Like, don't judge the judgments, right? Yeah. Maybe just love yourself. Say, I'm a person who judges, and that's okay too. Isn't that there's a ring of freedom to that as well? To just acknowledge I'm a human. I judge. It's part of my nature.
Yeah, to say I never
try
judge.
that one on, Joanne, and see what happens. Maybe then judgments don't become they stop being such a hard thing that you have to accomplish somehow. Yeah. Wowza. Well, I think we've covered we're very good. We did a script tonight. We were very good. We kind of made sure that we were organized, and
we didn't want to leave anything out. Or know when to stop. Or we could have been talking for hours, right? Not know when to stop.
Well, this is a show with no rules. We can carry on for another 40 minutes if you like.
All right.
No rules. Joanna, it was lovely having you here on the show.
It's been a pleasure. I really
and co-hosting. So you're going to come back and do another show with us?
Absolutely.
Okay. So we're going to talk about shadows again, or do you think you'll talk about something else?
We don't know.
We don't know.
What can happen between now and then might give us a whole new perspective to talk about.
Yeah. So thank you guys for tuning in to watch the two of us ramble on about shadows.
Hope you learned something.
We definitely hope you've learned something, and that this is interesting. And again, share the show, because this is how we grow the audience. Invite your friends to become members in the group.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening and for your comments.
Yes.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you for your comments.
Without you, we would not have a show.
Yep, exactly. I like that. Without them, no show. So well done, girl.
Thank you.
And tune in next week when we have the delicious, stunning, amazing Marsha liqueur, who is going. I love her French liqueur because it sounds like liqueur, and I like liqueurs. So I love her. I love her energy, and Marsha's going to co-host. Isn't she? Is gorgeous.
She is. Yes.
Yeah. So we look forward to next week, and we'll see you next week. So thanks,
Bye.
and thanks, Michael, for producing. Good job.
Yes, thanks, Michael. Did a good job.